Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Conversation by WONDIVA. And this Conversation by WONDIVA is proudly hosted by WONDIVA Global Community. So today we plan to talk about a very, very significant topic, and I am going to have here with me a host, a guest that I'm going to be bringing. Like, she's a nurse, she's a midwife, she has vast knowledge about family planning and contraceptive, and a lot of people ask questions about, okay, what about family planning, what do you know about it, a lot of questions. So we've decided as a central wives and mom central to bring in a guest so that we can talk about family planning and contraception. So if you are here, if you're online, or if you're watching this video and you have any questions, please make sure to watch this video to the end, or make sure to stay to the end of this live video so that you can ask your questions. Like we all know, WONDIVA Global Community is a community of women, and we have a lot of centrals. Your status central is the central that you belong to, like your status. If you're single, you're going to be in the single central. If you're married, you're going to be in the wives and mom central. So if you're interested to join our community, please do well to send a DM to us, and we are going to reply you. So join me as I welcome the one and only Franca. Sorry, I'm just going to invite her, and once she's in, we would all be able to see and hear her. Hi, Nas Aja. Welcome online. Can you hear me?
Hello, that's Mary.
Yeah. Welcome online. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Ja,
Our
can you hear
network is
me?
really. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just went to WhatsApp to like stimulate people to come online so that they don't miss out of this beautiful program or this beautiful topic that you've had prepared for us. So do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Oh, okay. Do we have people online already? Do we have people joining us already?
Yes,
So
they
I.
will definitely join us. So you can just keep
Okay.
going.
Okay. So my name is Aja Franca. I'm a
Okay.
midwife, and yes, I have about 6 years of nursing experience.
Oh,
And yeah, I specialize in maternal and child health. That's my area of specialty. Like, it's something I love to talk about. It's something I always want to be involved in because I realize that a lot of women, especially in the Western Africa, don't understand the need to be enlightened about their maternal health. And so I close in on every opportunity I have to want to educate women, want to educate even the singles, intending mothers, even the
yeah,
singles. I want to educate them on what they should know, how to go about their reproductive health. That
yeah,
way we can reduce the number of or the rate of infertility. Yes, because a lot of people actually are not having secondary infertility. It's the fact that they don't understand their reproductive health, and then it makes it look like they are not able to have children. They have failed to take time to understand how the body mechanism, how the reproductive um, organs work.
Yeah.
It differs with every individual. And so I'm so honored, I'm so delighted to be here with you, to want to talk
Thank
about something I love to talk about, to want to do something I love doing. And yes, I hope that we're going to have a smooth ride. I hope we're going to learn and unlearn a lot of things. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Jane. Thank you for joining. I can see you.
Thank you. So the thing is,
One
Nostalgia,
global
I can't
community.
really
Yeah.
see your video. You're
Yeah.
actually stuck on my screen, but I can hear you very well.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me move my head?
Yes, I can. I can see you.
Okay.
Can you see
Can
me
you see
now?
yourself move on the camera?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you not seeing me clearly?
I can, like, you're stuck. I can't see your video. I'm just seeing a picture of you.
Oh, I think it's network, right?
Okay, let's just continue. I can hear you beautifully well. I can hear you
Okay.
beautifully well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just want to ask a question. Now that you're
Okay.
going to talk to us about contraceptive and family planning, like, I don't know, we all want to learn. So would you just like to open the floor and give us all your information and let us tap from your brain?
Okay, yeah, I think that's what we're here to do, right? But I
Yes.
think it should be more of an interactive section. Yes, I'm going to say a few things about what I know about contraception and family planning, and then we're going to entertain a lot of questions, because when people
Yeah.
ask questions, you tend to touch the areas where you haven't touched, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to start by saying that a lot of people, a lot of people think that contraception and family planning are the same thing.
Hmm.
Now, I'm going to start by defining what contraception is. So, contraception is the act of preventing unintended pregnancy as
Hmm.
an individual or as a couple.
Okay.
I want us to take note of the fact that I said it's the act of preventing unintended pregnancy as an individual or as a couple, which simply means that you necessarily don't have to be married to want to prevent pregnancy. You necessarily don't have to be a couple to want to use contraceptives, right? Now, family planning is the ability to anticipate and attain your desired number of children, spacing, and timing as a couple. Family planning is the ability to anticipate and attain the desired number of children, spacing, and I'm sorry, the network went bad.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I said that family planning is also centered on ensuring fertility goals, adequate fertility goals, yeah, which implies that family planning is not just about wanting to stop having children or wanting to regulate when you want to have children, but it also implies that family planning can also help you have children, help
Hmm.
you improve your fertility lifestyle, But the mistake many people make is we all think that family planning is just wanting to, I'm doing family planning. No. Do you know that I'm doing family planning?
Mm.
And you wonder, like, why are they saying, do you know I'm doing family planning? Why is everybody thinking that family planning is just about not wanting to have children, right? But I mean, even wanting to have children is also an aspect of family planning. And so
Yeah.
I have been able to classify the methods of pregnancy prevention into two. I classified the one I call the artificial method. I classified it under contraceptives, and then the natural method I classified under family planning. I
Okay.
think now we understand that one major difference in the two, contraception and family planning, is that contraception revolves around an individual and a couple. You could either be a couple, I could be a single mother and I don't want to have kids again, and I want to keep indulging, yes, but I don't want to have children again. I would practice the most appropriate contraceptive method for me, right? But then family planning, yes, as a family woman, I can also decide not to want to have children at this time. I could also decide that I want to do 2 years spacing for every child. And I could also be having issues with fertility, not knowing when to have coitus to get pregnant. I could also be having issues with my body mechanism, not knowing how it works, that would enable me meet with my partner and get pregnant. So this is what these things entails. This is what contraception is. This is what family planning is.
Okay.
Now the types
Sorry,
of
before you continue, can I just put something in? Hello?
okay,
So
yeah, I'm with you.
we'll try to focus on the married people, because basically if you're single, you're not supposed to be having sex. You understand? So
Okay, okay,
so
okay.
we
Yeah,
are a Christian, and our belief, we share that if you're single, you need to abstain from sex. And
yeah,
so
sure.
most of our contraception talk today will be circled about married people. So if you're not married and you're here, just listen for future sake. Don't go
Yes, for
engage in
future
sex.
people.
So all right, thank
But
you. Go ahead.
if you're close to being married, yes, it's also very important. If you're
Yeah.
close to being married, you're single, but you're close to being married, they have done small things on top of your head. You can also participate.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I'm going to be talking about the methods of contraception. And there are four major types of contraception. That's the type we practice here in West Africa. I mean, West Africa, I know you're in UK, yeah? So please, I'm going to be talking more of what we practice here, because majority of the people joining us are
From Nigeria.
within Nigeria, yes.
Yeah.
And because the Western worlds are more enlightened than we are, a lot of them are more enlightened than we are. The major problem we have here is here in Nigeria, in West Africa, where a lot of women think that you don't have any right to space your child. As long as you get pregnant, give birth. After all, God has called us to come and multiply and procreate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so the methods of contraception, I've narrowed it down to four types. The contraceptive implants,
Okay.
the contraceptive injections, the contraceptive pills, and then condoms, the
Okay.
most common of all. Yeah. And so I'm going to explain each one of them and their mechanisms of action. So I'm going to be as simple as I can be so that the layman understands me. I'm not going to use a lot of medical terminology so I don't get to explain
Yeah.
it. So that the contraceptive implants are classified into two. We have the hormonal and the non-hormonal IUCDs. They are called IUCDs, intrauterine contraceptive devices. And so we have the hormonal and the non-hormonal. So the hormonal, an example of the hormonal, a major example of the hormonal is the one we call Marina. I think Marina is a brand name. Marina, but that's what most of us know it as. Now it is hormonal because it's um it's hormonal because it gives out little quantities of progesterone, and this progesterone forms thick mucus in the uterine linings that prevents sperm from passing through, thereby fertilizing the eggs during ovulation. So the hormonal IUCDs, the Mirena, produces little bits of progesterone, which produces mucus, thick mucus that covers the uterine linings and prevents the sperm from fertilizing the eggs. It prevents sperm entry, and so the sperm can't even pass to get to where the egg is. And now the non-hormonal, an example of the non-hormonal is the copper T. It's a T, like the name implies, it's a T-shaped device. It's a paraguard device, yeah? And it contains, it's made of copper wired into a T-shape, being inserted into the uterus. I wouldn't know if we are aware that sperm reacts to copper.
Yeah.
Copper neutralizes the effect of sperm. And so when there's a copper in there, by the time the sperm is getting to where copper is, the effect of it's already neutralized, and so it is not even valid
Effective.
any longer. So even when it meets with the egg, nothing can happen. That's the non-hormonal. And there's another one under the implants. It's called the implanol. It's a plastic-like object that is being inserted at the upper arm. It has the same mechanism of action with the hormonal because it is also hormonal. It also produces progestin that forms mucus and covers the lining of the uterus. The only difference between the implanol and the Mirena is the mode of implant. That I think the implanol is usually at the upper arm.
Yeah.
It started at the upper arm, unlike the Mirena that's being inserted into the cervix through to the uterus.
Oh, from
So
the vagina, right?
yeah, to the vagina, yeah. So that's that's for the implant, and then the injection, the contraceptive injection. I am always very interested in this particular one. The very common of it is the Depo-Provera. The Depo-Provera injection. It's been taken every 3 months to prevent pregnancy. Now, there's something about the Depo-Provera. In 95% of women, it causes amenorrhea.
Please, we're breaking it down for
yeah,
us.
for the non-medical people, amenorrhea is the absence of your monthly period, please. Okay. I'm sorry, I was going to be as simple as it can be. But you can't take it away from us, it's on us. Yeah. So, amenorrhea is the absence of your monthly period in women. And there are a lot of causes of amenorrhea. But I'm saying that Depo-Provera in 95% of women causes amenorrhea. It causes absence of their periods. Now, because it's hormonal, it also has other effects, like it makes you add so much weight. The very funny thing about this Depo-Provera is that you will be adding weight, but you're not knowing.
Not in everybody, right?
I use myself as an example. When I had my second child,
it's one of the common side effects, right? Not in everybody.
Yes, one of the common side effects is weight gain. When I had my second child, I wanted to space for a period of 4 years. Yes, I do 4 years spacing. So I wanted to space for a period of 4 years. And so I didn't want to use any of the IUCDs. I was so scared because people say different things about it. And it's my first time wanting to try out a family planning method, a contraceptive method. And so I was really skeptical, right? And so I said, okay, let me go for the injectable. Injection is something we take every time. And so I went for it. The doctor actually told me, my gynecologist actually told me that it might stop my period though, but for a few months, maybe 1 or 2 months. I was really happy because I don't like seeing period. It's kind of comforting, yes. And so I took it. First month, I didn't see period. I was okay, it's normal. Second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, I ran back to my doctor. And I had taken only one shot. By the time, okay, I intended to take the second dose. And so one day I was going somewhere and I passed through a glass house. I was forced to come back. Like, is this really me? I looked at myself and I was looking 3 times my usual size. I screamed. I had to go start asking people, did I add weight? And everybody was like, we thought it's on purpose. We thought it's because you're breastfeeding. The next day I went to work. I went to the scale and I had added 10 kg in 1 month. 10 kg in 1 month. It was terrible. It was really terrible. And so I didn't go for another shot. I tried to let that weigh off from me. But it took about 6 months for it to weigh off because I think it was after 6 months, my cycle came back to normal.
Okay. So
So
sorry,
I
can I
always
just
advise,
okay.
okay,
Can I just ask a question? You know, as a
okay,
family planning provider, like if you were a contraceptive provider, like I've worked in the family planning unit for quite a while. I just want to include that sometimes the way you respond to family planning or the way you respond to your contraceptive is
super
totally
different.
different. You understand?
Exactly.
You are speaking about
Exactly.
your experience today because that is what you've used, while some other people have used it and they were totally fine.
That's
And
true.
there is one myth that people think about contraceptive that if you don't see your period is stirring up in your stomach. Can you debunk that myth for us today?
Yes, yes, yes. I think we cannot rule out the fact that the okay, so with what you said now, a lot of people, a lot of women will say, yeah, it's because I'm not seeing my period, that is why I am adding weight. So it's the blood that is making me add. I've had 1 or 2 people say it, right? I think that's fallacy. There's no medical fact to back that up. I would rather prefer to say the reason they are not seeing their period is because the hormones are just acting up, right? The hormones are just acting up. I think their body at that point is producing a lot of progesterone than it should. Okay. So if we're going to say because you're not seeing your period, it's storing up in your body. How about the absence of period resulting from breastfeeding?
Exactly.
You understand? Because most women experience amenorrhea too when they're practicing exclusive breastfeeding,
Okay.
right? Yes, and in the moment they stop exclusive, their period comes back to normal. I think it's just the body. There's no blood storing in our body. There's no medical backing for that. There's no scientific backing for that. I haven't seen, maybe I haven't researched enough, but I don't think there is. I think it's just our body reacting to our different hormones. Yeah,
Okay.
because I believe that the level of hormones you would give out would be different from what I would,
Okay.
right?
So,
So yeah, so I don't think
sorry
there's
to
any.
interrupt you again. So
Yeah.
usually, because this contraceptive and family planning is one of the topic I like to educate people about. I really love to
Okay.
educate people about because there are lots of information out there. You understand? Like a lot
Yeah.
of people start talking about their experiences and all. But what me I try to compare is that when you get pregnant, you understand, let's use pregnancy as an example. When you get
Okay.
pregnant, pregnancy tries in pregnancy releases some hormones in you, which is caused by the placenta.
Yeah.
The way you react to pregnancy is different from the way I react to pregnancy. It's different from the way Bola reacts to pregnancy. It's different from the way Christy reacts to pregnancy. You understand?
Yeah.
some people during pregnancy they add weight. Not apart from the uterus growing, apart from the baby growing in them, you find out that they just go all pumped up, and you find out that they add weight during pregnancy. Some people they don't even add. You would see them physically and you'd be like, it's
Okay,
just
just
the
the way
pregnancy that is
they
accounting
yeah.
for the extra weight in this person. You know that. And some other people, when they are pregnant, the symptoms that they experience, oh my goodness, is over the place. You have nausea, you have vomiting,
You have
some people
meeting.
fatigue and all of that. So for family planning, it's an hormonal or contraceptive. If you are taking an hormonal contraceptive, I really believe that your body in the first few months tries to regulate. You understand?
Yeah,
It tries to react to the hormones that you've had. You
yeah,
understand? So, for example, now because you are not comfortable with the weight gain, you had to stop. You get
yeah,
someone whose the benefit of taking the injection is actually higher than the benefit of her losing weight. She is going to continue the injection and modify her lifestyle in such a way that at the end of, like, maybe in a period of 1 year, she's able to gain a balance with the weight. Have you seen that?
yes, that's
In the
true.
first few months when you gain the weight, and when you keep using this thing, your hormones kind of balance out, and you just find out that everything now continues like normal. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know. I
Some
agree with
people,
you.
even the when you have the implant injection, some people in the first few months you experience bleeding, excessive bleeding. But once they treat that, and you get treated, at the end of, like, after the first 3 months, your body gets, oh, familiarized with these hormones, and then
Yeah.
it stops seeing them as a strange hormone. It takes them as a part of you, and the side effects now reduces as much as possible. What do you think about what I just said, Nosacha?
You're very correct, really. You're really very correct. Like the area where you talked about modifying lifestyle, yes. I'm not gonna say if I really want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so if I really wanted to continue with Depo-Provera, yeah, it would have required me modifying my lifestyle, like we said. I would have started doing little of exercise. I would have started doing a lot of portion controls, you know. So I don't eat much. I don't take junk. I exercise more often, so I don't get out of shape, right? Yeah. But the reason I had to stop was because I knew that as much as I could do a portion control, the nature of my job would not have given me time to exercise once in a while. Yes. So I really agree with you about the lifestyle modification. I also agree with you that when something new is introduced into your system, of course the system would act up. You would
yeah,
react. Like giving a vaccine, when you immunize a child and they run temperature, some parents ask you, why are they running temperature? But I thought this vaccine is meant to protect them from things like this. That is
yeah.
that's an antibody you're introducing into the system. It
Mm-hmm.
will definitely react. After a while, everything calms down. Yeah. But in some people, most of the one of the side effects of the IUCDs, I'm not sure of I think the hormonal, is that in some people it gives them elevated blood pressure. I don't know if you've heard about that. It causes a high blood pressure for some people, right?
But I've
And
never seen them use the hormonal IUCD in Nigeria. I'm very
Marina,
familiar with the
used to be
combat.
very common. Marina, I mentioned one for you, Marina. Marina is a brand
Yeah,
name, right? Yeah, it's very common. It's very, very common here in Nigeria. Very common. Mostly advised by gynecologists, yeah. And yes, so some people react to it by elevation of their blood pressure.
mm-hmm.
So in cases where, so imagine a patient, a client who is already an hypertensive patient, right, or an hypertensive person, And so you're introducing Marina, for instance, and then the person's blood pressure elevates.
Mm.
You're not going to ask such person to modify lifestyle. You're going to ask such person to try
Another
another type.
method. Yes. And usually, I think they have this WHO wheel that they use to check your eligibility for each method.
Exactly what I was coming to, exactly what I was trying to, exactly what I was trying to talk about. Yeah, that in modern countries now, I wouldn't know if it's applicable here in Nigeria. I wouldn't know if you've studied that. In modern countries now, there's a device used to check your your eligibility. Is that the right word to use?
Yeah, yeah,
Your compatibility with any of the methods, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so they know what to use for you, right? So in not in all cases, I'm not saying that if you try one and it doesn't work for you, stop it just the same way I stopped. No, I'm not saying that. I stopped because I knew I wasn't gonna have the time to go about all the necessary things to help with stay in shape. But if it gets to the point where it's life threatening, yes, because some people also react to the IUCDs by um, excessive bleeding.
Yeah.
A lot of them, yes, a lot of I've seen women come to the hospital to complain about how their period now flows for 10 days, usually 4 days, but now 10 days, and it's heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in such scenarios, you stop it. I've also seen, I managed a patient some time ago that had the Marina on, and 2 weeks after having it, she started having severe lower abdominal pain. We had to run a lot of investigations and realized that she had the PID.
Okay.
Before then, she wasn't having it, right? And it is also worthy of note that most of those IUCDs are contraindicative to some health conditions.
Yeah.
If you have an ovarian cyst, it's really not advisable to use an IUCD. If you have an ovarian cyst, it's usually not advisable to have an IUCD in, because it's going to mess your system up. It's going to cause you infections. It's going to cause you excessive bleeding, severe abdominal pain, severe lower abdominal pain. You get. So for people who for the side effects that are manageable, yes, we could modify lifestyles, we could find a way around it. But for the effects that are not manageable, the effects that could be life threatening, imagine that you're bleeding to the point where you become anemic. It's advisable to stop and give yourself a break for a little while and then try another method. Yeah,
Okay.
so I think I've answered your question, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. And so I think we should go on, right? So I was talking about the Depo-Provera, yeah. So for a lot of women, I usually advise women who wants to have kids, maybe probably after 2 years after they had their first, right? If you're doing the Depo-Provera, I would advise that when you take your shots, I advise them to stop the last shot 6 months before
Yeah.
expectation dates. Like I had my, like for instance, I had my child in 2020, and I want to have another child by October 2022, right? By now I should have stopped Depo-Provera. I should have stopped the injection 6 months before the time. In some people, it takes a very long time. I had a client call me yesterday to say, I've not seen my period for 9 months, and I just had 2 shots of Depo-Provera. Is it normal? I said, yes, it's normal. It would come. It would wear off. Don't take another one. It will wear off. It might take a while, but it will wear off, and then your period returns to normal. So it differs with body mechanism. Everything medical differs with body. What works for me would not work for you. Some people takes it off. Some people stops it and gets pregnant immediately.
Yeah. I've seen
Some
people that
people,
missed their injection and they came back pregnant.
okay, it works differently for people. It really works differently for people, right? So I'm not going to say this is the best or this is the. Just do what works for you. The most important thing is that the aim for doing it is being achieved. Yeah. And so the third method of contraceptive is the contraceptive pills, where we have the morning after pills and the emergency pills. Yeah. The very common of it, the post-nut 2. The post-nut 2 is usually advised to be taken immediately within 72 hours after intercourse. Emergency intercourse. Let's use the word emergency intercourse. Like we are focusing on the married people now, right? I always ask my friends that, okay, we're doing family planning or we are preventing pregnancy. And so I'm doing the natural method of family planning, right? And so my spouse comes in and is all over me. Am I going to say no? I won't say no because even God will hold me responsible. I'm not fulfilling marital obligation. And so when such happens, it is always advisable that you have yourself well equipped. You use your emergency contraceptive. And I also tell women that it is usually wrong to abuse such medication. The side effects
Exactly.
are more.
Exactly.
The Medical Association of America says that you should not use post-nut 2 more than twice in a month. For me, twice in a month is even too
It's
much.
too much. Yes, exactly.
Twice in a month is too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because yeah, a lot of people abuse it because it's an over-the-counter drug.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering why. I'm wondering why. Well, well, I won't question them. Yeah, but a lot of people abuse it, and that's where you have a lot of people go through the. It's a major cause of ectopic pregnancy in women. It's a major cause of ectopic pregnancy in women. So I always say whatever has its advantage has its advantage. So that's for contraceptive pills. And then the
I
last
just
of
want to
all,
add
the
to it.
more common, and people will say the one that is 99.9% sure is the condoms. And the commonest of them is the male condom. You rarely see people use the female condom. I don't know what the female. I've seen a female condom, yeah, but I don't know what it looks like. Like trying to use it, I don't know.
The
Yeah,
mechanism is very tiring. You have to hold it in
but
place.
and if you're really not careful, it goes into the service. You get,
Yeah.
and then you're looking for a way to get it out. The complications are high. The risk of getting it into the system is really much. So it's the commonest of all is the condom, the male condom. A lot of ladies react to the lubricants in the condom.
Mm.
A lot of ladies react to it. Some people have the itchy sensation. Some people has this yes the itchy sensation, and I've seen somebody who reacts to it by so much having so much acne on the face, right? Lot
Yeah.
of
So people are allergic to rubber.
so, but it's for people here in Nigeria. They say it's the safest for them, right? And like we rightly say, everybody should do what works for them, as long as the aim is being achieved.
Okay.
So that's for contraception and the methods of contraception.
Okay. So
Now, like I said from the beginning, family planning entails wanting to have children, knowing the number of children you want to have, how to space them, when to space them, right? And so that is why there are a lot of religious doctrines oppose family planning. The Catholics don't advise the artificial method of family. They don't advise family planning at all. So the artificial type of child spacing, which is the contraceptive use, would not work for them. So most of them would use the natural method. I remember when I was planning to get married, yes, I was attending the Catholic marriage course.
okay.
And so there's this book they gave us. I forgot the name of this book, but it entails sexuality as a couple. It also teaches you the timings, when to get pregnant and when not to. Yeah, when to get pregnant, not when not to, because their doctrine abhors child spacing. They believe in procreation. Once you get pregnant, give birth to the child. Yeah. But the educated ones among them now do practice the natural methods. And the natural method are narrowed into three basic methods. So these methods I'm going to talk about is will also help you um, understand your reproductive mechanism as a woman. It will also help you know when to want to have children, and it will also help you with child spacing. So I'm starting with the Billings method. The Billings method is the method that requires that you understand what every um, mucus secretion indicates. If I have to, if I wouldn't want to go deeper, right? But every color of our mucus secretion from the vagina as women indicates something. So now, if during the ovulation, a day to your ovulation or during your ovulation, the the female reproductive organ produces the sticky, very sticky, colorless, sometimes whitish mucus. And when that happens, you as a woman would know you're ovulating. And so if you're planning to have a baby, that is the right time to have coitus. If you're planning to prevent pregnancy, that is a no-go area at that time. And so that's about the Billings method. Knowing what every mucus secretion that the vagina, the reproductive organ produces means. When it's whitish or colorless and very sticky, like very sticky, it actually indicates two things, right? It indicates that you're either ovulating or you're pregnant. So if you're not pregnant and you see that, it indicates that you are ovulating. And then the second is the calendar method. Now, this calendar method requires that every woman should know their cycle. It could be 23-day cycle, it could be 28-day cycle, 31-day cycle. And technology has made things easier for us, right? Where we have different apps, different apps that helps you indicate when you're ovulating, when your period is on. And ideally, I wouldn't know if it differs for different people, but ideally, I think that the ovulation is usually 14 days from inception of your period. The 14 days from your the
Okay.
first day of your period.
If you
So if
have,
my period was on, if the first day of my period on the 10th of June, ideally on the 24th of June should be my ovulation day. Yeah. And so the calendar method helps you know when you're good to go. If you want to have a baby, you know that from today I am ovulating. And so if I meet with my partner today, I'm going to in any of those days I'm going to get pregnant. And ovulation happen, yes, it's on for 4 days. I'm subject to correction. It's on for 4 days, yes. And I think the third day is usually the peak of the ovulation. In some people, that is when the urge for intercourse is increased. And yeah, so it's 14 days after the inception of your period. So you know when to meet with your partner if you want to have a baby. Like we stated earlier, that it also ensures family planning ensures your fertility goals, right? It's centered around your fertility goals. So if you also want to have kids, you know that that is when to meet with your partner. If you're spacing your child, you know that this know that this period is not a free zone for me. So that's that about the calendar method. And so the last but not the least is the body basal temperature method, right? I don't know if it happens to you, Mary, but close to my ovulation days, I'm always moody. I'm always having spikes in temperature. Like my temperature goes way higher than my normal body temperature, right? And so I'm always knowing that it's like I'm not sick, right? I'm not sick. I'm okay, but I notice that I'm having chills, and then when I check my temperature, it goes way beyond 37.2. And so I know I check my calendar. Oh, right, I'm going to be ovulating in a few days, right? So I wouldn't know if it works for some other people that way, but it's also a method of it's also a natural method of family planning. So for people who experience the basal temperature, you get the moment you feel in a way I just explained, it's usually advisable that you try to monitor your body temperature for the next 3 days. It occurs few days before the ovulation. Temperature rise occurs few days before the ovulation. It doesn't occur during the ovulation. It occurs few days. And someone is saying, but does everyone observe their body temperature regularly? Just wondering. That's why that's also okay. Sorry, I have to answer that. Well, everyone doesn't observe their body temperature regularly, but I'm saying that in case you want to practice any of these methods we are talking about, you could choose any of the methods you want to practice. But it's ideal that as a woman, as an individual, you take cognizance of every change in your body. I know when I'm feeling funny. I know when I'm feeling feverish. I know when I have chills. And then once I get an indication that something abnormal is happening, like why is everywhere hot and I'm cold? It's not like the AC is on, like everyone is sweating and I am cold. I begin to monitor my body from that moment until I either get an indication for it or it weighs off on its own. Yeah, so ideally, one of the reasons for this response is for Coach Josie, right? So one of the reasons for this session is also to enlighten us um on our personal taking note of our personal health. Always observe it. It's good to always observe. It's very, very important. It's vital, especially for a woman. It's vital. Sorry, I have to digress. Sometime 2 months ago, sometime 3 months ago, I noticed that I had a severe pain on my left breast. The pain was severe, right? And after a while, it wears off. But it lasts for like 3, 4 days. Like you're having, like, you know, when you're having, like you're engorged, but I'm not breastfeeding. And so I ignored it after the first time. The second month, it happened again. I observed. And so by the third month, I had to do a proper examination. Like I had to sit myself down, check the dates this thing occurs. And I realized that my body now develops a new signal to tell me that ovulation is around the corner. So whenever I'm ovulating, I expect that I feel this hot sensation on my left breast. It comes like I'm having breast engorgement.
Okay.
So it took me 2 months to be able to dictate that, right? And that's because I had to put my mind to wait, to want to. When there's a change in your body, you would want, if you're keen about your health, you would want to know why. I just don't rush, not because I'm a nurse or because I'm in the medical setting, but I feel that as people who are enlightened, we just don't want to rush to the hospital. I should be able to observe what's going on with me first. So even when I get to the hospital, I want to explain to the doctor, this is what I'm experiencing. I should be able to give a detailed explanation of what my complaint is. Now, so for that's about that. So for the basal body temperature, so when you notice that in the last 3 days, you've been having this hike in body temperature, the fourth day that comes after you're ovulating. And so if you intend to want to have children, you could even start from the day you start noticing the body temperature. You could just be doing it every day, every day, every day. You're legally covered. You be doing every day until you're able to achieve conception. But if you're trying to avoid pregnancy, if you're trying to prevent unintended pregnancy, okay, okay.
No. Finish your statement. I just want to make a
Okay,
contribution.
you're trying to prevent unintended pregnancy. So from the day you begin to notice that there are changes in your body temperature, it's advisable that you abstain from coitus until ovulation is over. So I think, yeah, you could say what you want to say.
So I just want to add a just something to what you were saying to Coach Josie. So usually for those people that use the basal body temperature as a form of contraception, what they do is that they have to document their body temperature every day. So
Every day.
you
Yeah,
have to choose a time, maybe in the morning when you wake up, you do your temperature and you jot it down. You understand? So when you notice that trend, when you document your temperature, you find out that during your period of ovulation, you are going to have a spike in temperature. It would happen. It happens to everybody. But because we don't always, sometimes we are too busy with work, you are too
but we
busy with
don't
the
take note of
children,
what happens around our body. Exactly.
you're too busy with everything, and you don't understand, you don't even focus on what is happening in your body. So if you
Exactly.
know that this is what you want to use as your form of contraception, you have to monitor it. And most people that do the basal body temperature, they don't do it on its own. They combine it with the calendar method and the basal body and the Billings method. So once you start feeling, when you start seeing the spike, you check your vaginal discharge and you see the mucus, and that would
Exactly.
also give you a way that okay, this is what is
That's a
happening.
typical
For some
population that
people
you're.
like us, during your ovulation period, it just so depends. During your ovulation period might be the time your breasts become very full and tender. You just why am I feeling like this? Oh, I think you check the dates. You just say,
There
I
are
think
also
my
mood
ovulation
swings.
is coming.
Mood
Same,
swings. Lots of mood swings too.
yeah, same as when your period is coming. You know that there are some symptoms that you feel when your period is coming, and where you just like that's for me especially when I start feeling some period, I just go to my app to go and check. When I see the date, I say, okay, that's why you are
That's
disturbing me.
that's
Get
what I
away.
do.
You understand? Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you just feel somehow, I just see what's happening to me. I don't think I'm sick or anything. I just check my calendar and I see that, oh, my period is coming. Okay. Flex your muscle now. Now you get it right. So, and also, I also have an addition to it. So
Okay.
your ovulation period, especially when you are avoiding pregnancy, you should try to carve out 7 days. I like to teach people what the 7 days are because for people that have longer period, for people that have
8 day cycle.
28-day period, 29-day period, it's actually easy for you to find out that your ovulation is on the 14th day. But people like us, that my period is 35-day cycle, and it can
Really?
go as long as 44-day cycle. So we have to like be consistent with checking our body and know when our ovulation day is. For example, now my ovulation day is day 17, 18, and 19, not
That's
day 14.
that's strange,
So
right?
he said
That's strange, right? I'm hearing
that's
this for
that's
the
that's the extreme of normal. Like 35 days is the length of normal. It's from
yeah.
26 to 35 days. So I'm at the
So
end.
44 is like the extreme.
Yeah, when your body changes, sometimes you might have 28-day cycle and your period delays for a while and you're not pregnant. You know that due to maybe stress, change of
Yeah,
environment, and all of
yeah.
that. So it can extend my period from 35 days to up to 45 days. But my cycle is 35 days. So this one I'm just saying it for people that are in my gang that our period, our cycle is quite long. I menstruate for 7 days and my cycle is 35 days. So I'm at the extreme end of normal for menstrual period. So if you are like that and you're on this platform, please just make sure to send me a message. I can teach you how to calculate your ovulation. So usually what I tell people is that when you monitor your period for a period of 6 months, you have
Yeah.
an average an average number of days that your period comes. The most reoccurring days, So people will have their period maybe in January 28 days, in February 27, in March 28, 28, 29, 28, 28. So that way you know that your period, your cycle is 28, but it can be 27, it can be 29, it can be 30. You understand? But your average cycle is 28. So you stick to 28. So
Exactly.
during that period, once you know your average number of cycle, what I do is check your calendar. The last day the first day you see your period, start counting your number of cycle. If it's 28 days, you count 28 days from that day. If it's 30 days, you count 30 days from that day. If it's 35 days, you count 35 days from that day to the next. So the where it ends is when you are expecting your next period. You understand? So when you now, what we do, especially for us that have long period, we count 14 days backward. So when you count 14 days backward, then you count 10 days. So that's 7 days. After the 14 days, you count 7 days backward. That 7 days is your ovulation period. And that's how I was able to, like, through my research, observing my body and all of that, I came across to say that the most stable part of your menstrual period is your luteal period. That's the period after ovulation. So your menstruation must happen 14 days after ovulation. Do you understand? That is the most stable part of your menstrual period. Your period must happen 14 days after menstruation. So your period must happen 14 days after ovulation. So for you that you have a long period of menstrual cycle like me, 35 days, you have to go to the predicted dates. You go to the predicted date, you count 14 days backward, and that 7 days after the 14 days is your ovulation period. I know this confuses a lot of people. So
A lot of people, it took me,
yes,
even
I'm
as a
not
nurse, it took
expecting
me
you to
a very long
understand it
time to be able
today.
to take note of this, right?
Yes, I'm not expecting you to understand it today. So if you are like me, you can go back to this video. We are going to save it and we are going to upload it here. So you can go back to this video, watch it again, work with your calendar, work with Jota. That's the way we do it though. Then for the rest of this year, make sure every period day that you have, you note it somewhere safe, so that when you have a period of days, like before I was able to dictate that my period was 35 days. You understand?
Okay.
When I was younger, my period happened 29 days after the last period.
Okay.
You understand? The last day. So when I got to School of Nursing, I discovered that it wasn't counted from the last day. It's counted from the first day. You get? So that's how I was able to know that my period, my actual cycle is 34 days rather than the normal average 26. Oh, okay. I thought we lost the life. Thank you so
No.
much, Nurse Aja. You've
You're welcome.
really taught us a lot of things. Like, I love this live section. So I'm just going to ask, does anyone have any questions to ask our amiable Nurse Aja before we conclude this live? Thank you, Coach Josie.
Yeah, she's been here with us. Thank you.
Yeah, the cute nurse, thank you. Please, do we have any questions? Let's keep our questions rolling in. Okay, while we are waiting for the question, Nurse Aja, is there anything that you want to say to us to round off this live video?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say something concerning our topic of discussion today, right?
Yeah.
This is really a very vital aspect of nursing, and it's of very, very much benefit. I usually advise women in general. Someone asked the question, I think.
Okay, do you want to continue? We'll answer the question. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I usually advise women I advise child spacing.
Yeah.
So very, it's very paramount, especially with the way the economy is going, right?
Mm.
I know some people would say if you have money to feed more than 4 children, why not have more than 4?
Mm.
It's not about just having the money to feed them. It goes way beyond that. Do you understand? How about we, the women that carry the pregnancies that go through child labor?
Mm.
The the human body, the
Sorry.
human goes through, okay. The
Hello.
the woman body also goes through a lot of process to to bring forth a life. The process of conception, the childbirth process, and all the all the the all the stress that comes with it, the complications, a lot of things to be considered, right? Like when a woman gives birth to a child through cesarean section, you hear the doctor tell the lady that you have to give yourself a year and 6 months. I tell people if you can do 2 years, if you can do 3 years, it's advisable because the uterus, if we have a chance to show every woman what the uterus looks like, I'm sure they will be so surprised to know that something as tiny as that just keeps expanding,
Hmm.
expanding, expanding. You get, and then And then, please, my question for Nos Aja is, can I be having sex till the last month of my pregnancy? Okay, so Miss T, yes, I'm going to answer your question shortly. And so if we have to let those women see the process the what the uterus goes through, having to expand regularly from time to time during pregnancy, and then as soon as the child is born, it gradually
It goes
shrinks back.
back. Yeah.
Don't we think that it gets to a point the uterus will even become weak?
Hmm. Yes, it happens. It happens.
It will also become weak. And
Hmm.
when that happens, some complications will begin to,
That's it.
emerge, right? And so that's the point where I tell people that it's not just about the economic. It's not about the economic importance of the economic importance of family planning. Even you as a woman, it helps you stay in shape. It helps you stay
Hmm.
in good health, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel one should take this family planning stuff very serious. You should be able to know the number of children you want to have, when you want to
Hmm.
have, so we can all stay hale and hearty to take care of the offspring to brought forward. That is it.
Yeah. And not only to even take
I
care of
wish
your
that
child.
women I
Yeah.
wish that we would understand this particular topic really well and see the need to want to be intentional about it. A lot of women go through a lot. A lot of women, a lot of women put their lives in stake. I had once had a patient who was having her fourth baby, and it was her fourth cesarean section. We almost lost her. That night was the longest night I've ever had in all of my shifts. She took 7 pounds of blood in the theater. She lost a lot of blood. She was at the child came out head and hearty. Funny enough, those kids will not go through anything. They will come out strong, right? And we fought so hard to save the woman.
Hmm.
Right there, she kept bleeding right there in the theater. I know my the gynecologist mentioned her name and said, "Madam, can you talk?" She said yes. Like she was faintly, "Can you give me a go ahead to do a hysterectomy?" And
To
she
remove
said
your womb.
yes. And she said, tell my husband. And the doctor quickly ran out to the husband. There were two gynae consultants in the theater. So one of them quickly ran out, educated them. And the man said, just save my wife's life. Save whatever you would do. So I did not gave him a form to fill to consent to it. And right there, something that was supposed to be a 30 minutes procedure, cesarean section of birthing a child, we were 5 hours in the theater. We had to
Yeah.
take off entire
Hysterectomy.
care. You know what that means? That by the time she's okay, she's out of the pain and everything, the feeling of not having a womb again. In her quiet time, she would have this feeling of low self-esteem,
Hmm.
right? not because she might want to have more children, or not because she might have intentions of having more children, but because she would feel like every other person would feel that way. I came into this life with my uterus intact, and I'm living whenever I'm going to live without it. It's really going to affect. It's really, even after 6 weeks when she came to the hospital for a checkup, she said, Nurse Aja, so like this now, I don't have a womb again. I smiled, she smiled, I encouraged her, I made her understand that she has 6 kids, but 4 cesarean sections. So 2 were bettered as vaginal births. I wouldn't want to use the word normal delivery because that, I think
Yeah.
that's
We don't
another
use that
day.
again.
So
Yeah.
2 were vaginal births, and then 4 were cesarean section births, right? And
Okay.
so I encouraged her. But the pain she went through. She had to give in something for her life to be spared.
Yeah.
Do we as women, do we need to get to that point before we learn our lessons? Before we
Word,
don't?
word, wise word.
That's why this topic is something I really want to always talk about. Like anywhere I go to, I find one way or the other to say that we need to stay strong and alive. We didn't just come to have children. No. So I want to answer Miss T. Miss T said, "Can I? You can also contribute." Yes, Nurse Mary. Can I? So she directed the question to me. Can I still be having sex till last month of my pregnancy? Well, I would say if you're not having any complications in your pregnancy, you can actually have sex till your last days in pregnancy. If there are no complications, yes, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Usually, we
Why
even advise
not?
we advise
Yeah,
women that
because
when you think
it
that
has
your baby is coming and
it
you're not
has
seeing
the
anything, go home and have sex with your husband. I'll come back to the hospital.
exactly because during intercourse, yes, there's usually the muscles of the uterus, the pelvic walls contracts, right? So yes, if you're right, you're due for delivery and you're not contracting yet, please go and have intercourse with your husband. And during your days of pregnancy, if you're healthy, there are no complications. Why not? While I was pregnant for my second child, at my last trimester, my 7th month, I had a pelvic prolapse. Getting out of bed was very difficult. So my husband will have to hold my legs together for me to be able to get out of bed. And so immediately I got to the hospital and I was told this is what I was experiencing. In fact, the pains won't even let you want to have intercourse.
Yeah.
You don't even need a doctor to tell you don't have intercourse. So the pain will not. How do you want to open the legs,
You can't
right?
even open your legs. Yeah.
Open the legs. So, but I tell if you're saying 3 to 4 times a day. Well, Misty is actually my friend. She's trying to be funny, right? If you can have it up to 10 times a day, Misty, yes, go ahead. Go
Yes, go
ahead. It's
ahead
your
if you
quickness
can.
that we tell you. Yeah, but it has its advantages. If you're not having a high risk pregnancy, if you're not having complications in pregnancy, and you feel like you want to have intercourse till delivery, why not? Why
Yeah.
not? If not, go ahead.
So
So,
we also have another question
another
from
question.
we have another question from Oluwaronki. She said, "Hello, please. I'm using family planning injection of 3 monthly since last year July, but I'm yet to see my period up to now. So
Okay,
what
so
is
that's what
the
we are talking about, right? That in
yes?
most people, it even lasts longer than even after. Please, can she hear me? Have you stopped taking the injection? Can she hear
This is
me?
Oluwaronki. If you're online, do you want to respond to us, please?
Have you stopped taking the injection?
So
Okay, so if she has stopped taking the injection, right,
mm-hmm,
and she has not seen her period yet,
mm-hmm,
it still depends on her body mechanism, right?
mm-hmm.
I feel like okay, so she said July. I really want to know if she took just that her last dose in July. Okay, she
Yeah,
said yes, stopped since last year July. Okay, so I think you should see your gynecologist, right?
yeah,
Because yes, I also know that it takes a while to wear off in some people, but
yeah,
I also think you should see your gynecologist. He would be in a better position tell you what to do, run some investigations to rule out some abnormalities. So see your gynecologist.
Okay. So, and also, what I think is that from research, they've
Yeah,
said
that's the thing, Sarah. It happens.
the
Exactly.
effects of
Misty said it happens with most people. Exactly what I explained. I also experienced it, yes. Okay, so Nosmi, you were saying something.
yes. So, especially for the injection, the injectables, research has shown that the effect of the injection might last from up. It can extend from about 4 months to up to 2 years. So
Yes. Oh,
if you are still within that bracket, sometimes it's good for you to go to your gynecologist to see what he or
rule
her
out all
thinks, to
abnormalities.
do some scan
Yeah.
and all of that. But usually we might not be worried if you don't have any other symptoms. It might just come back, especially if you're within 2 years. That's why they say if you want to have babies within 2 years, they kind of advise that you should not use the Depo Provera or something. But the fact is that in some people, if you take the injection today and you stop that month, by the time it works for 3 months, the fourth month, if you have sex, you're going to get pregnant. So one thing,
Exactly.
my final words for this contraceptive is that women should not be scared. Try different methods. You understand? Try different methods, not the one that suits you best. Don't say your neighbor had this and she did not. Your neighbor had this, your sister had this, your uncle had this. Have you tried it? If you have not tried it, then you don't know what the effect is. You understand? Because
Exactly.
you can't be saying something. For example, someone got pregnant and could not stand up from the bed. Then I'm at home scared. I don't want to get pregnant though, because when I get pregnant, I'm not going to stand up from the bed. Pregnancy is not the same thing. Same as the effect of family planning. And another thing I tell people is that for people that are taking drugs for different things, for example, hypertension, I use hypertension a lot. There's this drug that they use that once you take that drug, you tend to go to the toilet to go and wee a lot. So does that mean the
Yeah.
drug is not working? No. But that going to the toilet is just a side effect. Just the way
Of
when you take
medication.
any of these contraceptives, it's going to help prevent pregnancy, which is the normal
Yeah.
effect. But then there are some recognized side effects. So if you have any side effects, the best person to talk to is not your neighbor, is not your friend that referred you, is not your church member, is not on Facebook, and is not on Instagram, except you are talking to one of the registered nurses or midwives like I myself and Nurse Aja. So the best person to talk to is your family planning provider. Please go back to them and explain however symptoms you are feeling so they can reassure you. They can recommend some medication from you if it's going out of hand, and they can even tell you to discontinue your method if they feel that that method is doing you more harm than good. So do we
Exactly.
understand everything that we've said? Any other questions before we just round up? Okay, let me just make a rounded statement. Thank you so much, Nos Aja, for
Thank
coming
you.
through for us. Thank you for volunteering yourself to come and talk about this particular topic. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I learned a lot of things from this live section. And I
Thank you,
hope a lot of
Nosmi.
people too will learn from this. Please do not stop here. You can always watch this video over and over again. And WONDIVA has a YouTube channel. So all these videos are going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so that at any point where you feel that you need to like go over the things we've talked about, you can always check the YouTube channel for this video, especially to just see what you are missing. Maybe when I was talking about calculating your period, or what Nurse Aja was saying, you try to just watch it and gain more information. If you're interested in what we do, we are a community of women at WONDIVA Global Community. We are raising leaders, we are raising women, we are raising people that want to be closer to God, and we are a community of women. If you like
Thank
what
you
we do,
very
please and
much.
please send us a DM to join our orientation group. We are also going to drop a message on I'm going to drop a caption under this video so you can go there and learn more about us. Thank you, Nos Aja. Thank you,
Thank you
everybody that
for
stayed true
having
to
me.
us.
Thank you, WONDIVA. It was a nice
Yes, we
time.
will see you again
You.
next time.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.